Today I'm spending a little bit of time working on the roof up there. Hard to see because I've kind of straightened a little bit of it out already, but somebody had stood on the roof at some point or something heavy had been loaded on top, and the rear two bows had actually been pushed down a little bit. This rear one here is down about 1.5 inches of what the farthest ones here are. So the roof has a definite dip. I'll just climb up on the ladder in a second. I'll show you what I mean. So up here you can see, if I lower the camera, you can see this area right around here is really depressed down. It was a lot worse than this a few minutes ago. I just got my shoulder under it and pushed it up. But the bows have disconnected in some spots from the roof, so I'm going to drill holes and I'm going to re-tack weld them once I get the bow back up in a proper position. That crappy little piece of glass I just put in there because the previous owner had put this useless solar powered vent fan in there, and all it was doing was making noise and leaking. I will order a proper RV fan and put it in its place, but for now I just wanted to stop water from getting inside the van while I'm working on it. So inside here, if you can excuse the sound of a tin can, because that's what an empty van sounds like without soundproofing or any type of materials, this bow here is just like flopping around. You can push it very easily. Back here, it actually got folded, so there's a crease in the metal, and you can see up in here, it's disconnected from the actual roofing panel. So I'm gonna drill a couple of holes here and farther along in here, and I'm gonna re-tack weld them. But first, I'm gonna put some 2x4s to push the roof back up before I do the tack welding, and hopefully that will hold it in place. The first thing I need to do here is just drill holes in the flanges on the side of these bows. It allows me to get a clear shot with a TIG welder and attach the bow to the roof metal again. I figured at this point I'd address a depression in the roof left behind by something heavy being loaded on the rear roof rack. So I had my porta pack out already. I just stuck it under there and I jacked out the dent to an almost tolerable fix. With the bows at the right height now, it's time to hit it with the welder. I'm beat. That's that. That was a bit more involved than I thought I would get into. Kind of got my head into it and just kept on going, but I'm really happy. This roof is a lot flatter now. It's a lot firmer now. This will be a lot better when I put some wood strips along the bows that will reinforce them a little bit better, and it'll give me something to anchor roofing panels on when I get to that point. But now the roof is flat. It's a lot firmer. I'm happy. Tonight, I'm gonna remove these ugly roof racks. They came on the van, they're big, they're ugly, they're heavy, they're not very aerodynamic. The problem with that is it's gonna leave holes in the roof. So what I did is I made a little tool. I also made a video of me making the tool. It makes these perfect little discs of metal that I'm gonna use to fill the holes that get left behind by the bolts when I remove them. You can find the link to the video of me making that tool here or somewhere down there. I don't know, I'm still figuring this shit out, if you're interested in seeing what the tool looks like. I am also going to use the same metal discs to fill in the holes in the floorboards that were drilled by previous owners of the van. All the rusty spots and places where there are holes that need to be welded were ground down and prepped by my pretty little assistant. And thanks to her for being a badass with the grinder. At this point, I've come to realize that whoever put these roof racks on decided to use some type of Superman strength glue, and the only thing I've got for kryptonite is heat, and it's worked surprisingly well. Well, this is all one big learning process. I found out that the discs that I'm punching out are pretty tight in the hole, so I have to finesse them a little bit with a file. I also found out that my MIG welder is a little bit too aggressive for this thin sheet metal, and it deposits a lot of material on the weld, and if I tack it all around, I've got a lot of grinding to do. I'm worried that I'm gonna make this metal too thin. I only wanna tack the weld and not the actual base metal. It's a pretty thin roof already, and I don't wanna risk busting through it with a grinder. This second one turned out pretty good here. It's got a little bit of roughness to it. It's not completely filled in with the actual welds. I've got about 100 more holes like this to do. I've got 2 over there and 4 at the back where the rear roof rack was. So I got to practice on those, and I got a bunch inside the actual cabin of the van's floor to do. I'm gonna bust out my TIG welder. It's brand new from Eastwood. I've had it for about 6 months now. I've never used it. I don't have a lot of experience on TIGs, so I'm gonna spend some time practicing on that. I will not bore you with the details of filling in all of these little holes, even in a time lapse, because it can bore you to death. So next video, hopefully the floor is done and it's gonna be ready for painting and for actual installation of some underlay for insulation. That's it for this video. I wanna thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.